Okay guys, in this lesson we're going to look at how to set up a Fibonacci template, a blank template that we can put our Fib tool in various configurations. First of all, you'll need to open up MarketWatch, and I use an exotic pair such as a US dollar Singapore dollar pair, or you might use the dollar South African rand. Whatever case, if you don't have an exotic pair on your screen, just right click on the MarketWatch and come down to symbols, and you'll be able to choose from this list here. If that list isn't open, just come up to the exotics and you can open up whatever chart that you want. For instance, if I wanted the US dollar Hong Kong dollar, I could just double click and it would appear down in the MarketWatch. I'm going to use the Singapore dollar, and to open up a chart I'm going to drag that from the MarketWatch up to the top bar, and you'll see that there's a little plus sign at the base of the cursor. Let go of the cursor and we can open up with a default chart. It might look different to this, it doesn't matter. We're going to adapt it to use as a blank chart for the Fibonacci template. Right click on the chart and come down to properties, and then for each of these settings here I want you to change the color to none. So we'll go right through and change each one of these settings so that there's absolutely no color on the chart. Just check in here, we don't want to show the grid, and we'll turn it into a line chart. It's not absolutely necessary. I also want to turn off chart auto scroll. I don't want it to auto scroll. And we don't need the OHLC either, open high, low and close. Click OK. And now you see that we have an indicator on here. You may have other different indicators. You'll need to go into the right click again on the chart, go into indicator list and remove the indicator. Just delete. And now we have a totally blank chart. Then you need to come up to the Fibonacci retracement tool in the toolbar and just draw some fibs on the screen. Now these are the default Fibonacci's. They're the traditional Fibonacci's that come with the MetaTrader platform. We want to adapt these slightly because we don't need to use the 423.6 or the 261.8, for instance, extensions. So we're going to actually delete those. So come down, select those in the properties, the Fib properties window, and click delete. Delete, delete. Now I'm also, for the purposes of trading, for instance, our KPL, our key price level strategy, I'm going to also delete the 100%, the 23.6%, and also 0. We don't need those for this strategy. If you do need them, you can leave them on there. Click OK, and you can see that we can expand that a little bit so that we can see it clearly. So now you see that we have a 61.8, a 50%, and a 38.2 fibs. So they're the traditional fibs, and that's what we'll be using in the KPL strategy. So what we need to do is to also add a different set of Fibonacci configuration that is in line with the way that we take our profit with various strategies that we use, in particular the escalator, the paymaster, and our flexi trade. So if we draw again on the screen, you'll notice that we have exactly the same setup as we configured earlier with the traditional fibs, but we're going to change this. What I'm going to do is actually come down and delete each one of these and start again. The first, you see we have 0, and that is going to be our stop loss. Put 3 spaces in, and then put a percent sign and a dollar sign. And what that does is actually allows the Fib tool to print the price levels on the tool itself, as you'll see when we complete this configuration. Add another one, and this one is going to be set to 1, and that's going to be our entry level. Once again, put our percent, and I don't need to put level, just entry will do. And that's going to be plot the price again. Our next level will be half risk. So if we calculate the risk as being between 0 at stop loss and entry at 1, then we need to add half of that distance to the entry, which means that it's 1.5. 1.5. And that's going to be our TP1. TP2 will be set at 2. TP3 will be at 2.5. And finally, there's 4 profit targets in these strategies. We'll set up profit level 3 at TP4. I'm going to change the color of this to silver just to distinguish it. You can make it any color you like, of course. This is just to distinguish it from the other fibs when we place both on the chart. Click OK, and you'll see now that we have Fibonacci's that are based on 50% risk levels. So they're not true Fibonacci's, of course, but they work and allow us to calculate where our profit targets are likely to be when we use the, in the case of the KPL, the FlexiTrade EA for trade management. Now all you have to do, that you have those set up, is to come up and save your template. Click Save Template, and I've already have one there, blank, I've called it, so I'm going to call it blank again and replace the original one, and now I have my Fibonacci template, or my blank template, up on the in my platform. Now all we have to do when we're swapping between these two Fibonacci's is when we come onto a chart, let's say we're going to use the traditional fibs, we need to select it, as you can see by these little white boxes on the red dashed line. If we then right click on it, open up the fib properties, and then all we need to do is simply click OK. Now when we go to a chart, we can actually draw on our fibs. When we draw our fibs, they'll be the traditional fibs, as you can see by these yellow lines. Now if I want to add or replace them with the trade management take profit fibs, the grey ones, simply come back to your Fibonacci template chart, select and right click. Click those properties, click OK, and then when you come back to your chart, you're able then to select the fib tool and draw them, and they will be in the configuration that you selected. And you can swap and change at will. We go back again, we want the traditional, we select them, click OK, come back to the chart, and when we draw, it will be the traditional.